What's up, guys? It's Ben here. I'm here with one of my, honestly, all-time heroes in the strength game, Justin Harris. So John was not able to make it to the show. He had other obligations that, we talked about this a long time ahead of time. John and Justin have worked together in the past on various things, and John was very comfortable with Justin helping me out with some of the decisions that we'd have to make on show day. So that's all over with. And so from now on, we're getting back to Project Big Ben Part 2. Thank God I get to eat again. That's the subtitle. So, what we're going to kick off with is a discussion, which Justin is going to be doing most of the talking, I'll be doing most of the learning, about how we're going to transition from 12 weeks of pretty heavy dieting, losing, honestly, a lot of fat that I did not think I had to begin with, into getting big again. And hopefully, I'd like to hit an off-season weight of somewhere around 240. I think would probably be. That's what we talked about earlier,
Definitely,
right?
yeah.
So
I would be upset if we didn't hit that.
I think we got that in the bag. So Justin, I'm gonna turn it over to you to tell everybody what I'm gonna be doing for the next. Let's start with the 36 hours
Alright,
because
yeah.
I'm excited about that part.
So what we do is basically after the show's over, night show's over, you're done with everything. We'll do 36 hours. And 36 hours means the until you fall asleep the night after the show, and then the 24 hours the next day. 36 hours of whatever you want. Get all the cravings out, all the junk, whatever you've been really wanting, and without just give you a day and a half to not think about dieting. Then after that, we'll do 5 consecutive days of very high calorie, very high carbs, but all clean sources. So basically what your off-season high carb day would be for 5 days in a row. But the last meal of the day, each of those 5 days is another cheat meal. And I do it the last meal of the day because by the time you got to that point, you've probably eaten 1,000 grams of carbs. You're really pretty full, so your cheat's going to be pretty mild. But it still allows you to get all the cravings out of your system. After that point, you are completely refilled with glycogen, refilled, ready to go. You've had a high volume of food for 5 days. You should have had every craving on your system, and on that at that point, it's the 7th day after you're ready to start the official off-season prep, and you're starting it with no cravings, no appetite issues. Your hunger hormones more or less regulated where we want them. And when I say regulated where we want them, they're not gone. You are still hungry, and then what we'll do after that is we'll want to cultivate that hunger.
Can you remember what your first meal was after your last show?
Chicken wings, actually, and it wasn't planned. It was the nearest food. It was the first place I could find. It was chicken wings. I mean, it started with that. Then it was burger, fries. I think I had hot dogs. But I definitely chicken wings. And the only reason I remember is because it was the quickest food I could get in my mouth.
I'm not gonna lie, I have been craving a box of oatmeal for so long that I'm gonna have a box of instant oatmeal with it's like raisins and walnuts or some shit, but it's sugary, and I know it's kind of lame, but I have wanted that for whatever reason for so long that's gonna be the first thing, and then I'm sure I'll go nuts after that. But so in terms of training for that week, right? So I assume, honestly, this is probably not the smartest decision, but I happen to be here in Pittsburgh. There's a great gym, Union Fitness. They have their heavy squat days at 9:30 in the morning, so I'm gonna do that. I will be safe. I will not fuck myself up. But I can't resist. Like, I'm more excited about this than getting on stage. So that'll happen. But then typically, what should training look like in that first week?
I try to make
show?
it. Everyone's actually really motivated typically after a show. If you won, you're motivated because you won. If you didn't win, you're motivated because you didn't win. So you typically wants to get right back in the gym after a show, and I encourage that. I don't tell people to take time off. I say go ahead, just make sure you're only doing what you want to do. And I tell people basically just go get a pump workout and enjoy it. Don't worry about sets, don't worry about weight, don't whatever. Take any worry about having the perfect routine and just go in and have fun. And that's actually going to help suck up some of that food you're eating. And then again, by the time you get past that 7-day point, your electrolytes should be normalized, your glycogen stores should be back full. There should be no real risk or issue with cramping or tearing muscles, and you should pretty much be back to full strength. That's the weirdest thing is it doesn't take long before you get full amount of food in you that you're back to your off-season strength again.
And that's pretty different from powerlifting because you got to remember in bodybuilding, the last month or so, you're really not moving heavy weights in the gym. You're just too depleted, right? So you've really already taken a lot of light training time.
Yeah. You should be well as far as heavy load bearing activities. You should be well recovered because you haven't done them in a while.
My joints feel better than they have in ages. It's really that mental break that I need from the dieting, and this week is really designed to kind of give me that mental break, right?
Yeah, and then after that, what you do is your hunger hormones won't be normalized yet. You're still going to be very hungry, and you actually want to kind of force that. And so what I typically do is we'll use a couple of very high calorie, very high carb days a week on your hard training days. The rest of your training days will be like a medium carb, medium calorie day that's still enough to facilitate growth. But then your off days are still going to be actually calorie deficit days. Not a big deficit, but a mild deficit, enough so that we kind of cultivate that appetite still. We don't burn out that hunger hormone. So we want just enough so each day you're still slowly recovering from that diet appetite, and we want to drag that as long as we can. And the most you can get usually is somewhere about 4 to 6 weeks. But if you can get 4 weeks of that full diet appetite where you're nailing everything, that's, in my opinion, that's the best month of growth you'll have, period, in bodybuilding. And I think if we do this correctly, you'll see that in 4 weeks with Ben.
I really think we will as well. And I can tell you guys that learning to eat the way, which is kind of what Justin is describing, learning to eat that way is a skill. It is something that you can't just willpower, right? You got to practice, and this is a cool way to practice.
Well, and that's a big one too, because people, you hear always people say like, I don't eat for taste, I eat as a job. Well, that's great, but doing that for 20 years, it doesn't work. You need to be hungry for your food, and just completely ignoring that, it's holding people back, and that's what so many people just constantly try to push the food. What you want is basically your weekly calories to be ever increasing. That doesn't mean every day and every meal needs to be ever increasing. And so periods of time where you actually back off the calories a little bit to cultivate that hunger and help teach the body, what I would say, become a food processing machine. Because the more good, clean food you can process and assimilate, the more chances you have to stimulate protein. That protein synthesis will actually occur when it's been stimulated.
One thing I do want to mention is that, on a personal note, is that I'm returning to heavy training. I am not going to keep up just the fluff bullshit. I have learned a lot. It's not bullshit. Sorry, I shouldn't have called it that. Actually, what Justin was explaining to me is that it's more of a sarcoplasmic type training where you're training to increase muscular size, and I do enjoy that, but not nearly as much as the heavy lifting. So that will be a part of that, and I'm going to set some cool off-season goals for myself. I'm a very goal-oriented person, even when it's off-season, even when I don't have any competition in mind, which, if there is one, it'll probably be strength, but we'll see. I need some type of goal. So right now, I am not at liberty to divulge what I have in mind, but it's going to be something cool, and I hope you guys will stay tuned for that. In the meantime, for the next 4 to 6 weeks, you can get Project Big Ben on a discount from our sites, which will be available in links below. There's also going to be links to Justin's site, TripRunningNutrition.com, and my own phdeadlift.com if you guys want to see some of the programs that we already have available. And I think we would both love to see in the comments to some of these videos some other topics related to growth for kind of power building, right, that you guys would be interested in. I hate the term power building because I think that all training needs to be heavy and hard, no matter what your ultimate goals are. But I also know that it's a term that a lot of people connect with. So if that's something you're interested in, let us know what you'd like to see, and we'll do our best to make that happen. You got anything else to add?
I'm good.
Awesome. We'll see you guys next time. I hope you're excited, because I am.